Hey everybody, welcome back to Being the Marshmallow. I am, once again, Bob Wagner. Blimey and Pete are off seeing friends and family and old shipmates for the holidays. And today's theme is It's Not All About You. Now, here's what I mean by that. As people with serious mental illnesses, particularly PTSD, we have a disability. Okay? Anybody who says otherwise is wrong. Period. You're wrong. Conversation over. Move on. And as disabled persons, we have a reasonable expectation to certain things from our fellow human beings. A little bit more patience, a little bit more compassion, a little bit of accommodation. I've talked about reasonable accommodation, but what I want to talk in past videos, but what I want to talk about right now, excuse me, I've been up since about 5 a.m. It's actually about 20 after 9 at night, Monday night, as I film this thing. But what I want to talk about right now is our responsibility, okay? Meeting people halfway. And what got me thinking about this is that with the coming of the holiday season, there's been a new environmental factor introduced to my work. Now, as I mentioned in the Hey, I'm Back video, I started a new job back in the summer, which overall is a much better fit for me physically, personality-wise. It's certainly a way better fit for my PTSD. I've been a lot less symptomatic, pardon me, since I got this job. But here's the thing. A couple of my coworkers are extremely churchy, and by that I mean that they are the kind of people who go on religious retreats for vacation. They listen to religious podcasts and sermons on their headphones, and that's great, okay? I'm not Christian. My wife is. It's a big world. Believe whatever you want. But with the coming of the Christmas season, there is, of course, a lot of Christmas music on the radio, and there's a couple of local stations that play nothing but Christmas music during this time of year. And I hate Christmas music. I like Christmas. I like trees and gifts and food. I especially like giving gifts, which is kind of weird for such a selfish person. I don't like Christmas music. It triggers the hell out of me. And this is impactful. And the reason I bring these two ladies up is because they are playing a lot of Christmas music. Sorry, it's been their decision to play Christmas music on the radio and play it loud enough that it's heard throughout the warehouse because of the obvious Christian themes that run through so many Christmas carols. Now, I don't personally have a problem with people liking that kind of music. I don't personally have a problem with people listening to music that dovetails with their faith, okay? But when I'm at work and I hear this music, it redlines me. Now, I can do one of two things. I can do the inappropriate thing, and to put this into perspective for you, one day I got so set off by this that I actually hit that I wanted to cut myself, okay? I'm going to show you something right here. This is called self-harming ideation, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we mean. This is my Leatherman Wave, and I take this with me pretty much everywhere, and this is a very sharp blade. And I wanted to kind of dig around in myself with this just from hearing the Little Drummer Boy for the 4th time in 2 hours one day. Instead, I talked to my boss, and I said, hey, boss, and this is what I mean when I talk about meeting halfway. I'm about to flip the fuck out. I'm going across the street, I'm getting a radio, and I'm plugging it in over there. While I'm over there, can I get you a beverage? My boss said, no, thank you. One of my coworkers happened to be standing nearby. I'm like, hey, I'm going across the street. There's a local coffee shop across the way next to where I'm going. Can I get you a beverage? Or perhaps a scone? Because when one is going crazy, it's only good manners to offer a pastry, don't you know? And the reason I did that was because, yes, I have a right to reasonable accommodation, but it ain't all about me, okay? It ain't all about us. We cannot expect our fellow humans to act like the fucking world revolves around us. That's what 2-year-olds do. We're not 2-year-olds. A lot of people who have PTSD were entrusted with the care and feeding and operation of multi-million-dollar equipment, and that's how they wound up getting their PTSD. Okay, we're not little kids. We're old enough to understand that the world does not revolve around us. And as such, we have a responsibility to say, yes, I have a right to accommodation, but I have a responsibility to find the middle ground. Because otherwise, you behave like a spoiled, selfish ass, and nobody likes that. Nobody wants to be around a 40 or a 30 or a 20-year-old person behaving like a 2-year-old. Okay? So what you need to do is you need to ask yourself, how can I find solutions to my very real and very legitimate problem that meet the other people halfway? Now, I could have raised a big fucking stink. I could have said, I could have played the disabled person card. I could have played the ADA card. I could have played the fact that I am a member of a religious minority. I am a member of a religious minority. I'm a witch. I could have played the whole, they're proselytizing their religion with this music, and that's a violation of company policy card. I could have been a dick. No. Don't be a dick. Find a different solution. What I did was I'm like, okay, I could do all these things. Instead, I'm going to walk across the street. I'm going to get a clock radio. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to listen to music. I'm going to basically create a sound baffle with my own music. And if they complain, I'm simply going to say, hey, look, I'm just trying to listen to my music like you're trying to listen to yours. And as such, everybody wins. They get to listen to their music. I get to not want to dig around in my flesh with a blade. And while it's acknowledged that, yeah, there's a differently sane person in the room, you don't become that douchebag, okay? And it makes it much easier to function in the world because, like it or not, we got to function in the world, okay? So now there's another example I can cite. I take the public transit because my hallucinations are so bad that I simply cannot operate a motor vehicle. The one time I tried, I had a flashback. I put two wheels up on the curb, damn near wrapped it around a tree. Another 6 inches, and yeah, no. Now, the hours that I work mean that I am very frequently sharing public transit with homeless people, people who are using the trains and buses as a way to get out of the cold and catch a couple hours of sleep. On Minneapolis-St. Paul trains and buses, they have specifically designated seats for disabled persons such as ourselves. And these are very, very popular seats for the homeless people because they're these lovely, nice, long bench seats, and you can stretch out and you're warm and you get a couple hours of sleep and you don't bother nobody, nobody bothers you. Now, when I get on my train, I could raise a stink and wake these people up and say, hey, dickhead, pick another seat. I'm a disabled person. I need to sit down. No, they were there first. The world don't revolve around us. Find a different seat. Same deal if you happen to ride the public transit and you are sitting in a disabled seat because you are a disabled person. And if you don't have your back to that wall, because the way this works is these bench seats, they tend to be along the outer wall of the vehicle. And it's really nice if you're somebody like your average PTSD sufferer who needs to have their back to a wall where they can't be snuck up on because having your back to anything but a wall freaks you out. Now, if you're in one of those seats and somebody who's more disabled than you comes along, the middle ground looks like this. Get your ass up, find a different seat. If you can't find one where you can sit with your back to a wall, stand. Okay? And what I mean by more disabled is somebody who has mobility issues, a walker, crutches, a wheelchair, an amputee. These are people who are more disabled than we are. The middle ground is you find a different seat and give up your seat to the person who has a more pressing, more preeminent need for it. Because yes, our brain is broken, but it's entirely likely that we've got two perfectly good legs. If you don't have two perfectly good legs, then fine. You got dibs. You were there first. But whatever you do, and this is really the core message of this video, try to accommodate the people around you as you wish to be accommodated, okay? Don't just say, hey, I've got this disease and it's all about me and I get whatever I want, because then you're a goddamn baby. And then you're a bad ambassador to people like us. And people see this and they think that's how people with PTSD or other mental illnesses actually are. And that's just another form of letting the disability win. Okay, it's letting you, you're allowing your demons to turn you into an ass. And that's not the goal. The goal is to be a functional, integrated member of society who just happens to occasionally have panic attacks and trip donkey balls and see stuff that isn't there anymore. Okay? It's part of the recovery process. It's part of beating back the disease. And so take a couple of minutes every day. You know, you're on the toilet, you're having your coffee, whatever. Find a couple of dead moments and go, well, hey, man, what about this scenario? What about that scenario? It's what I do. And it works for me. Maybe it won't work for you. Maybe it will. But I guarantee you, you will have a lot better interaction with the people around you, and you will find them much more willing to work with you and find accommodation with you if you demonstrate a willingness to work with them and find accommodation for them. Okay? And that's the core message. If you want to be accommodated, be yourself accommodating. Don't make it all about you. Be like, hey, what can I do to work with you so that we both kind of win? Okay? And by doing that, you're not letting the disease win. You're not furthering the mythology or the popular perception of mentally ill people as dysfunctional individuals who can't operate among normal human beings. And you're being more fully integrated. You're beating back the disease. And at this point, I'm repeating myself. And it's 13 minutes now. So, that's all for now. Be safe, be well. Be here when I get back. Bye-bye.